Hello everyone, welcome to today's class, and in this class we are going to understand thanatology, and from this class we are starting series of lectures in forensic medicine. Forensic medicine. So we are starting with thanatology. We will understand and we will learn introduction of thanatology, tripod of life, and organ transplantation, which is related to thanatology. Okay, so let's understand this terminology, thanatology. So whenever we have LOGY in any word, it means scientific study. Scientific study of something. And what something? Thanatos. So this word is thanatos, which means death. So you can say thanatology is a scientific study of death and things associated associated with it. Okay, so that is the basic definition of thanatology. And when we see the origin, so it have Greek origin. It have Greek origin. Greek origin. So the term thanatos has Greek origin, and LOGY is again scientific study. Okay, so this is basically the scientific study of death and other things which is associated with the death. Okay, so let's understand the basic concept of thanatology and important things related to it. So here we can see that thanatology deals with death. Yes, of course, and it's all aspects. So thanatology, it is a scientific study of death, and it deals with death and all aspects related to it. So there is a progression from clinical death to brain death, biological death, and then cellular death. So we have different steps of death. Okay, so clinical death, brain death, then we have biological death, and then cellular death. Okay, so this is the progression of death. Then we have brain death, which follows immediately after clinical death. So brain death comes after clinical death. Okay, so it happens because of lack of oxygen. So first of all, cerebral cortex get affected, and then cerebellum, and then lower parts of brain or lower centers of brain dies. So in the absence of oxygen, cerebral cortex get affected, then cerebellum, and then lower centers. So let's see where cerebral cortex is, cerebellum is. So here we have cerebral cortex. So this is the first area in which we see the effect of less of oxygen. So first is this center which dies, and then cerebellum, and then lower centers of brain dies. Okay, so this is the step by step death progression in brain in the absence of oxygen or due to lack of oxygen. And ultimately brain stem dies and vital centers die as well. So we can say that it is a process of cellular death, and after that process of cellular death begins, right? And when we talk about death in context of law, so we have section 46. We have section 46 of Indian Penal Code. We have section 46 of Indian Penal Code, and in which death denotes that a human being is, unless it says that a person is dead, a human being is dead, unless the contrary appears from this context. For example, we have person A, and we want to understand this person A is dead. So when we will approve this, when there is no contrary appears to this context. Okay, if someone, let's say we have XYZ person, this XYZ person comes and and this person says that I am A, then this is the contrary, so we cannot just say that A is dead or not. right? We have to investigate, and then after investigation we have to understand this A and XYZ person are same or not. Okay, so that says section 46 Indian Penal Code. And again, we have one more act associated with this. This is Registration of Births and Death Act. Section 2B defines death as a permanent disappearance of all evidence of life at any point of time after live birth. So we have to understand there is a live birth, and after live birth, at any point of time, there is disappearance of all evidences of life, and then we call the situation death. Okay, so you guys know that if someone is getting life, or if there is a live birth, there is a birth certificate. If someone is died, okay, so we have death certificates, and all these birth and death certificates is handled by this act only. And in this section 2B defines death, which says all the permanent disappearance of evidences which is associated with life is disappeared. Okay, so all the evidences related to life is disappeared after a live birth. So that is death. And there is no clear definition to death in our legal system. Then we have types of death. So we have two types of death. One, we have somatic, systemic, or clinical. These three names denote only one situation, that is somatic, systemic, or clinical. And the other type we have is molecular and cellular. Molecular and cellular death. Okay, so first we will understand what is somatic death. Okay, so somatic death is complete and irreversible stoppage of circulation, respiration, and brain function. And these three things are also called as tripod of life or bishop's tripod of life. But there is no legal definition to death. So here we have three important elements to death. First one is circulation, which is related with heart. The other one is respiration, which is related to lungs. And the other one is brain function, which is related to brain. And this is also known as tripod of life. If we see complete or irreversible stoppage of anything, any one pod of life, if we see complete or irreversible stoppage in either circulation, respiration, and brain function, we call it somatic death. And here it is really very important if death happened or not, because it is important in resuscitation. If someone is not dead, we can resuscitate them with different means. And for organ transplantation, it is important to understand the time of death and the elements of death, because we want to transplant some organs. If we want to transplant some organs, okay, as long as circulation of oxygenated blood is maintained to the brain stem, life exists. So whenever, so if oxygenated blood is there in the brain stem, we can sustain life. Life will exist. Okay. If there is no oxygen in brain stem, it means the life is not going to exist. Whether the person is alive or dead, we can only be trusted by withdrawal of artificial maintenance. So we can give an example of artificial maintenance, that is ventilator. Okay, so that is the artificial means of, so ventilator is artificial maintenance. If we remove the artificial maintenance, if we remove the ventilator, then if there is no life, that means that person is dead. Now, organ transplantation. The success of homograft. Homograft is nothing but organ transplantation. It depends only upon the type of tissues which is involved and rapidity of its removal after circulation has stopped in the donor. So we need to remove all the organs as soon as possible, as soon as after the circulation has stopped. Okay, the cornea can be removed from the dead body within 6 hours of death, skin in 24 hours, bone in 48 hours, blood vessels within 72 hours for transplantation. Kidney, heart, and lungs, pancreas, and liver must be obtained soon after circulation had stopped, as they deteriorate rapidly. So, as soon as we get the information of death, we need to obtain kidney, heart, lung, pancreas, liver, etc. The body does not reject the transplanted cornea. It does not reject the transplanted cornea, and the donor can be a newborn baby or 70 years old person. Most bone transplant last the life of the individual. So bone transplant lasts to the life. Okay, so this is about organ transplant. So that's it, everyone, for this class. Hope this lecture is helpful to you. If this is helpful, you can click the like button, you can share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed our YouTube channel, subscribe our channel, and see you guys in the next class topic. Till then, take care. Bye.